If the absence of snakes surprised you, here is something even stranger. New Zealand has no native land mammals either, or almost none. Of all the creatures that have ever evolved to walk the land, only two kinds made it here. Two species of bat. Everything else, every stoat, every deer, every rat, every possum, every rabbit, was brought here by humans. To understand why, we have to go back to the same story as the snakes. When New Zealand broke away from Gondwana 80 million years ago, true land mammals had barely evolved. The first mammals had only just appeared alongside the dinosaurs, still tiny and primitive. By the time mammals were spreading and diversifying across the world, New Zealand was already far out to sea. And unlike birds, which can fly, or seeds, which drift on ocean currents, most land mammals have no way to cross deep ocean. There were no land bridges, no island chains, no routes of any kind. New Zealand drifted away, and the mammals were simply left behind. The only exceptions were bats, because bats can fly. Two lineages found their way here over tens of millions of years, and what they became is extraordinary. The lesser short-tailed bat, the Kakapo, evolved into something unlike bats anywhere else on Earth, spending much of its time on the forest floor, crawling through the leaf litter on folded wings to hunt insects and seeds. Without mammals filling the roles of grazers, burrowers, or ground-level hunters, something remarkable happened. Birds stepped into every ecological niche that mammals occupy everywhere else. There were birds that grazed like deer, birds that burrowed like rabbits, birds that probed the soil like badgers, and birds that hunted like cats. New Zealand evolved what scientists call an alternative world, the same ecological roles, filled by an entirely different caste. The giant moa was the most dramatic example. 9 species of moa roamed these islands, from the size of a turkey to towering giants standing 3 meters tall and weighing over 200 kilograms. They were New Zealand's equivalent of Africa's large browsing mammals, filling the landscape for millions of years. The Kiwi, small and secretive, probed the ground for earthworms and insects with its long beak. Its nostrils sit at the very tip, a mammal-like adaptation that evolved because it was doing the work of a badger. At the top of this world sat not a lion or a wolf, but a bird. Haast's eagle had a wingspan of 3 meters and hunted at speeds of 80 kilometers per hour. It was the apex predator of New Zealand, a flying creature filling the role of the world's largest cat. This world lasted unchanged for millions of years, until the first humans arrived. When Polynesian voyagers reached New Zealand around 700 years ago, they brought with them the Pacific rat, the Kiwi. Over the next few centuries, all 9 species of moa were hunted to extinction. When European settlers arrived in the 1800s, the damage deepened dramatically. Stoats, weasels, and ferrets were released to control the rabbits that settlers had brought for food. Possums were imported from Australia to start a fur trade. Rats and cats came with every ship. For New Zealand's birds, which had evolved over millions of years without any ground predators, these animals were catastrophic. They nested on the ground, they could not fly, and they had no instinct to fear a mammal, because no mammal had ever threatened them before. Today, New Zealand has lost more of its bird species to extinction than any other country on Earth. But New Zealand has responded harder than almost any other nation. The Predator-Free 2050 program aims to eliminate all introduced predatory mammals from the country entirely. On predator-free islands already, Kakapo populations are growing, Kiwi chicks are surviving, and entire ecosystems are beginning to recover. This is what 80 million years of isolation looks like when it finally meets the outside world. Subscribe to NZ Mysteries for more extraordinary stories about the natural wonders of New Zealand.